everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day so far. On today's video, it seems that I need some new tires on my bike. So I'm just going to show you a real quick video on how to change tires. It's quite simple if you got a couple hours, and you want to save a couple dollars instead of going to the dealership. And it depends where you go, okay? Sometimes you can get a great deal on tires. Sometimes they're really expensive. But I ended up going to a couple dealerships between here and Tucson, and I picked up some new D606 front and back tires. So the back one was about $139, and the top one was like $150, almost $150. So then I got another pair of tires, and this is the Dunlap D592Fs. I've never tried those, but it was on sale for like $70, so I may as well try that. So I might mix match them. I think I might just go with a regular set though. Tires are getting really expensive these days, so I figured for $70 you can't beat that for a front tire, because otherwise if I can catch a deal, I don't really care if my tires are really matching, because this thing seems like it has quite the traction. It's like catching a deal on tires here and there, because I go through them pretty quick, and why not buy the cheaper one sometimes. Dunlop's pretty good. I really like the Dunlop tires. I do a lot of off-roading. Otherwise I would get like a more street-worthy tire, but really these things really handle, as long as you're not flying around the corners. I mean, you can actually corner pretty well in town, and on the highway I never get it over like 80, so I don't really worry about balancing too much. These tires actually hook up on the highway though. I really like these. These aren't too bad. So I'm just going to show you a real quick video on how to change your tires. First of all, I got to get my tires in the air. All right guys, so now I got everything up in the air, spinning like it should. And I've got, let's see, for starters here, you want to take this big cotter pin off. There we go. Loosen this up here. These are my chain spacers. So I'm going to loosen this up too. I think that's a number 12 and a 13, or a 12 and a 14. But I just back these up until they are just at the very end of the thread. That's all you really need, because then that'll give you enough distance to take your chain off. So, okay, so I'm gonna loosen this, take this off right here. All right, so you got your nut, washer, and then you got this piece here. So after you got that done, you want to take this number 8 off. This is for your ABS sensor that holds your brakes on. Take that off, and then take this lower one off too, this other number 12. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Then you can inspect your brakes. Here's what my brakes look like. Seems like they got plenty of life left. That's for sure. They used to be a little bit thicker than that, and I've got 10,000 miles on it, so I don't think I'm really going to do anything other than maybe spray this down. And, okay, so that's what you're left with. Okay, I took these 2 caliper bolts off, and then you took this other number 8 off, which is kind of just this bracket holder. That's the only thing that's in the way for your lower bolt. Okay, so I got this side loose. So on the left side of the bike, you want to bring these all the way back to the end of the thread, and then you can push your tire forward, okay? Get as much room as you can on both sides. Okay, right now this thing is about as far forward as I can go. And I just wanted to see if I can usually I can get this chain off right here. All right, so now I got the chain off. And I gotta get this bolt out here. Okay, now that I got this bolt coming out a little bit, I'm gonna pull it out the rest of the way here. Okay, that's your whole bolt that goes all the way through. I'm just gonna put this nut back on so I don't damage the threads in any way. Now I can take this tire all the way out. Okay, on this side here, I'm gonna take my sprocket out. Doesn't look too bad, looks pretty clean. And then on the other side here, brake caliper holder. So I'm gonna let that hang for a second. And then you have this other bushing. I'm gonna take this out. And that's about it. There you have it. That's my little tear down of this old tire. All right, I'm gonna throw on a new D606 and I'll be right back. Okay, for starters here, when you're changing your tire, you're gonna wanna take your stem nut off for your air stem. Just take that nut all the way off and take your stem out and take all the air out of your tire. Get that pulled out of there. All right, so and then hold on to your stem. Hold on to that little stem because that thing, it's still okay. There's nothing wrong with that because chances are the stem's okay, at least in my scenario. I always have a whole bag. I got a whole bag full of stems and air parts and everything else. So I'm just gonna throw that back in there. Okay, so I got my tire. That thing's ready to come out. I just gotta get this tire off the bead. The tire bars I'm using, these are the Motion Pro bars. One's a little longer, one's a little shorter, but they work out great. I love having two different smaller sizes, but I definitely use these guys the most. But I definitely use these ones the most. It's definitely nice to have a variety when you're changing a tire. All right, so I'm just gonna start kind of working my way around here. Kind of get this caught in here and try and get this bead popped off here. It doesn't really matter where you start, but you just want to kind of get it off there. And once you get, all right, there we are. Okay, see there? See that? Now that I have this bead broke, it's gonna get a lot easier as you make it all the way around. So I'm just gonna work my way around here and it's gonna pop right off real easy. And that's without even soapy water. I did make up a big bottle of soapy water here, so I usually spray it on here. I just put a little pinhole in the top and I spray it on there when I'm usually putting the tire on. I don't really need the soapy water to take this off. This whole side is totally off. So now, okay, so this thing's off over here. All right, there we go. Perfect. All right, that's not bad. Okay, so now I got the whole tire is all the way down. Okay, and my stem is on this side, so I'm gonna work on the opposite side for my stem. So I'm gonna try and pop this off over here. I kind of start it with the little one, and then you can get underneath the whole thing. And the whole thing kind of comes right apart. At this point here, I can pretty much pull the whole thing now. Now that I got so much of it off, it's really the first like 20 or 30% is the hardest part. And now literally I can do this with one hand and the whole thing is gonna come off. And also what helps is if you can use like a little clamp. This is really what helps me keep it inside of that bead and gives me the distance so I can shove it that extra little, I don't know, maybe like a 1/4 inch extra, just to get that tire in so you can shove the whole tire over as you're lifting it out of the bead on this side. So okay, I'm gonna work on the other side. I'll just flip it over and start working. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip this thing over and just do the same thing. It comes off real easy. Got the rest of the tire just about out of there, as you can see there. So once you got it this far out, all right, so now I got the rim and the tire ready to come apart, and you can just pull on this thing and you'll get the whole rim out just like that. So it was fairly easy. It's not anything too hard. I'm just going to wipe that down, kind of get it a little cleaned up, and do like a very close inspection on this inner tube. I haven't had to add any air to this tube, so I think I'm just going to keep this and reuse it one more time, because this is the extra thick tube and there isn't really any sign of wear on this other than a little bit of dirt that probably got in there the last time I changed it. Here we go. Here's my other tire. Cut this loose. A little soapy water helps. A little bit of patience always helps too. So I'm gonna shove that all in there. Okay. So this is what it's gonna look like when you're done. You're gonna have it nice and smooth all the way around. Okay, so then I'm gonna throw my rim in here. So this is how I normally start it out. I usually put the tube in first, then I will sneak this little stem through and put that nut on, just as, give yourself as much room as you can. Okay, so I just got that nut on just barely, and then I can shove all this together and eyeball it all while I'm spraying it down with that soapy water and get this all seated in there. So that's the trick. At least when I'm doing this, I find that a lot easier, because otherwise once you sink that bead on and then you have to try and stick your hand underneath the tire trying to get the stem through that stem hole on the rim, and I found that very hard to do. So I'm just gonna kind of give it a little pressure, throw a little more soap on here, make sure you got plenty of lubrication here, because it's 10 times easier if you have a little bit of soapy water compared to not having any water at all. I wouldn't even attempt doing this unless you had soapy water. Okay, so, all right, so I'm all the way down in my bead right here. This is where the stem is, right there. And I'm just gonna gingerly kind of sneak this in here. Okay, so we're getting there now. And almost have this whole first side put together. Just gotta work your way. Use 2 or 3 of these tire irons. You just gotta use 2 or 3 of these tire bars, and sooner or later you'll work your way all the way around. I usually go just about an inch at a time, and slowly enough you'll get it on there. Okay, finally got it popped on there. Good. So now I just got to work my inner tube all the way around. Get it all the way in there so it's nice and flat. Okay, perfect. And it should pop right in there, as this one did. This one just popped, boop, just went right on there. So now, okay, so now this side is good to go. I got to pop it on the bead just a little bit more. But you can do that once you add air pressure to it. And I just gotta pop this bead on and get this on right here. And this is kind of the easy part. And really, if I was really timing myself, this probably took me from start to right now, probably about 15 minutes. And I've got my tire off, and the new one is almost all the way on right now. Okay. Getting there. All right, so I'm going to use my little clamp again. This thing comes in handy just to squash this bead down just a little bit. It really helps quite a bit. And then you can just squirt a little more soapy water on here. Okay, there we go. All right, so now this is kind of compressed and it's in the bead. It's down low there, right where I want it. So that's going to give me more room on this far side, so I can keep going all the way around here. Okay, here we are. Because you'll know if you're not in the bead, you know, if you don't have your tire down in this lower ring here, and you're trying to get the tire on, and say you're like probably 60 to 80% there, and your tire starts making this cracking noise, that means you're breaking your steel beads. You know, you're breaking your tire pretty much if you're hearing a little cracking noise. So you have to compress this tire so it goes down into the rim as low as it can go, and that'll make the process way easier trying to get this last 20% of the tire on here. Here we go. This is the last little bit. Push down on a little bit. There it goes. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And it is so much easier if you have this little clamp just to pull that into the bead, because now when I fill this up, this thing is going to pop right on the bead all the way around, especially when you fill it up when you got a little bit of water in there. I usually fill it up and just spray a little soapy water on there, and this will pop right on the bead like right away. It'll just go boop right on. So okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna fill this up. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So I'm gonna fill up this sweet D606 tire, and I'm gonna throw it right on the bike real quick and do a little install of that, and then do my front tire real quick. It shouldn't take long. I mean, really, this took me, honestly, maybe 20 minutes to get this tire off and on again. So that wasn't too bad. I mean, this is about as easy as it gets. So I'm just glad I got the tools and the know-how to do this, because I don't feel like paying a dealership to do this for probably a minimum of $100. So, okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna just throw this back together. This is my favorite part of the day. This is like the sun's starting to go down over the mountains here. It's about, what time is it? It's about 7:40. Okay, so I got my tires replaced. I double checked everything, and I think I'm ready to go. Take these old tires to the dump. And there's nothing better than having some fresh new tires. And this is probably the cleanest you'll ever see my bike tires. But it doesn't happen too often that you got to replace the tires. It's good to just check through and do some preventative maintenance, because there's nothing worse than dealing with a breakdown when you're out in the middle of nowhere. So it's better off just, you know, if you see something, I think actually that I probably need to do is probably get a new chain, because I have adjusted my chain, I don't know how many times, but right here, this little oval shape, that's about as far back as that thing's gonna go pretty soon. I think I could adjust my chain maybe 1 or 2 more times, but that's just part of the preventative maintenance. So, okay, next time I go to the store, or actually next time I go online, I'm probably gonna buy a new chain and some new brake pads for the front, and I think that should probably do it so far from what I see. Everything else looks pretty good. I think so far as a review, after the 11,000 mile review, I think I would have to say this is a pretty tough bike. I mean, it's built upon reliability. It's no like, I mean, it's definitely a workhorse. You could pack a whole bunch of stuff on here and go camping for days. But I don't know. I really like this. A lot of people sell them. I mean, I see a lot of people online, they buy them, they ride it for maybe, this one guy didn't even have 100 miles on his motorcycle, and he sold it like right away. And I can't believe how many people actually do that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to take this, get rid of my old tires, and christen these new tires on the dry lake bed, a little bit south of town here, and just see how much dust I can kick up out there. just wanted to make a quick video of riding out on the dry lake bed, because right now it's like 0 wind, almost. That's almost unheard of, because normally it's like at least 30-40 mile an hour winds out here. But anyways, I just wanted to make a quick little video of how to change your tire. And I think the main takeaway of this video here is probably, the main time saver is if you can get this stem, if you can get that stem on before you start getting your tire on, that saves, at least it saves me at least a half hour trying to get your finger in between that tight little spot. It's not a whole lot of fun. So, I mean, if any kind of time saver, that's probably one of them. So, anyways, all right, here is my dusty old bike. It's still kind of clean, but as soon as you get off road, I mean, the dust is like a magnet to this baby. So, anyways, all right, I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna grab some lunch and I don't know, probably do a little grocery shopping or something. But anyways, you guys keep having a great day, and I will talk to you soon. All right, thanks.